Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Jazara and welcome back to the channel. So VoiD, one of the best Sheik players in the world, just released his matchup chart. It's been probably the first time in over a year that he's released one. With him going to Summit, I know he's been playing a lot, been studying the game a lot, so I wanted to take a look at the matchup chart with you guys and kind of give my opinion on it, talk about what I think, because I think that he had some really interesting opinions on this chart. This video gets freaking 20 likes, I'll make a matchup chart. Make it 25 likes. I'll make a matchup chart. All right, so we're over here. We got the chart going right now. I feel like I'm gonna start from the top. I'm not gonna be talking about every character. I'm just gonna be giving my opinion on a couple of them. For one, that they should switch section. I can agree with that, especially if you're playing at a higher level. I feel like these characters just really don't have the chance against Sheik. She edge guards all of these guys like nobody's business. Like every time they go off stage, they should be dead for the most part. Yeah, in the 60-40 tier, there's definitely a few matchups that I would change. For one, King DDD, I don't know if that's 6-4 for sure. I feel like it might be more in this 55-45. Can't kill him consistently. Raindrops don't work against him. Raindrop would destroy him, but Raindrop doesn't work against him. He lives forever. Decently hard to edge guard. And if he jumps at you with Gordo, Sheik doesn't really have a whole lot of options. Needles don't beat it. There are some things you could do with around it, but if he throws out Gordo, he can kind of just run behind it and approach Sheik, and he doesn't need to worry too much. Roy is another one where I don't know if I think it's 6-4 in a tournament environment. I understand where he's coming from with it. Similar to Crom, same kind of deal. He needs to get in your face, weak off stage, similar frame data and ranges to Sheik, but with Needles, you can always force him to approach her and get him off stage real easy. Luigi is another one where in practice, yeah, I think it can be 60-40, but in a tournament environment, it's a very scary matchup for Sheik. You have the edge guarding on him, but if you're not on lock with that, he can blow you up super easy. Besides that, I can kind of agree with the rest of these. Banjo and Kazooie actually is really interesting. So these matchups right here is where things starts to get interesting. So he's saying that everybody right here could be 6-4. Don't agree with that at all, actually. Falco, I feel like could be closer to even. Yeah, there's the edge guarding aspect of Falco, but he puts you in the blender every time he hits you. He has great anti-airs. He can deal with Needles grenade with his reflector. If you guys are both on the ground, it's hard for you to get a needle charge going because he could shoot laser at you, which forces you to pick an option. Cloud, I definitely don't think is 60-40. I think Cloud's cool here in 55-45. Could see it being even, actually. The more that Cloud has been getting developed and the Cloud players have been getting better, it's a lot harder to exploit his weaknesses, which is the edge guarding. Literally, besides that, like, he has amazing frame data, big sword. It's hard for Sheik to make approaches on him, especially when he gets limit. I know that it's only a factor for 15 seconds, but with how early Sheik dies as well, it's really scary for her. The heavies, I can agree with that. And then Bayo's another one where I feel like this matchup could be losing, honestly. So for one, she combos Sheik really well. She gets more consistent stuff off of every hit. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of Bayonetta players that can do that kind of stuff, but at that level, I feel like she should. The way that she covers space, it makes Sheik's evasiveness not as prevalent. Just because she can cover double jump so good, she can cover jump behind so well that you lose a lot of those escape options. So a lot of the time you're going down to playing like RPS against her, like, am I going to shoot needles? Am I going to grab you? Am I going to fair? And then with the off stage as well, her recovery is great. She does a really good job at being evasive around Sheik stuff. She could follow out a lot of your kill confirms with bats. Can't raindrop her. I would definitely move this matchup more towards like the even section. Peach and Wolf, I agree with, though I could see Wolf being more even. Sheik and Wolf kind of want the same things in the match. The pace of the match is very similar, the way that they want to play, except with Sheik running in a lot more. The strength overall and more consistency with killing, like off of raw hits and stuff, is very strong against Sheik. The next type of ones I'm kind of iffy on is Game & Watch, Me Brawler, Ness. Weird bundle right there. All kind of do the same thing. Really strong buttons off close to mess with his recovery, and then she's so quick that you can run off stage and react really quick. But his buttons up close, Ness just wants to trade all the time, and that's Sheik's biggest weakness. If you're not playing patient enough, you will just get blown up by Ness. Like, they have such good buttons that you can't really risk running in and trying to fight him. Really, you're going to be sitting back a lot and waiting for him to whiff stuff. So I feel like at least in like a tournament environment, I feel like it's more of an even matchup. Game & Watch is tricky. It's a matchup I used to think was more down here in like the 60-40, but the more I figured out about it, the more it's not. Against Game & Watch, you need to abuse Sheik's really like basic set play style. You're not looking for these huge combos against him. You're not really overextending a lot. You're going to be trying to force him to approach. Mii Brawler is a character where I don't really know how I feel about them. I hear a lot, feel like if you could run like the smaller set Mii Brawler with the frame data that he has and whatnot, it could be more around here. In my head, Brawler and Mario are very similar. Now going into these even matchups, it's saying that Squirtle could be right over here, and then any of these guys past Palu could be 55-45. At least Ryu and Ken, I could see those being losing matchups actually. PT being even is weird to me, given that he has Ivy here, says that Squirtle could be winning, but then he has Charizard losing, which I actually 110% agree with. I've felt like for a very long time, you can ask any PT player this that I've talked to, I feel like Charizard does the best against Sheik. For one, Squirtle has benefits that a lot of the other losing characters have against Sheik. He could turtle up really hard because he's so small, he can kind of just run away and force Sheik to approach. But he's really stubby, doesn't have a projectile. So Sheik can kind of sit back and slowly force Squirtle to approach. And what happens is a lot of the times the Pokemon trainer player gets impatient and ends up switching to Ivy so they can fight you at that mid-range with a projectile. And so Squirtle becomes like a non-factor a lot of the time. He can be hard to deal with, but he is easier to kill, easier to edge guard, and has the lower range, so a little easier to fight. Ivy, I agree. Ivy's constantly having to jump to get stuff going. Has the great up air and down air, which are good for juggling or two-framing Sheik, but like overall, I feel like Sheik can really deal with Raise Your Leaf well. The edge guarding could be a little tricky because while they do go at pretty predictable angles, they have the mix-up to switch into Zard, and then sometimes Ivy like whips on and then drops down really quick and comes up, so makes it tricky. Zard, on the other hand, oh my gosh, dude. For one, when they switch to Charizard, they want to be Charizard, which makes it 10 times harder. They're already about 110% really hard range to kill Charizard, and they can go and just start running around and shielding. Out of shield, Charizard has amazing mix-up. So you have up B, up smash, out of shield, grab as well. So that's 3 things. If you do something unsafe on his shield, you're going to die. He has the mix-up of just throwing in spot dodge up smash on you, which kills stupid early. Charizard runs and goes into shield, you're the one who's an RPS. Because what are you going to do, sit there and charge Needles? Needles lose to side B. If he reads that you're going to shoot Needles, he could just YOLO side B you. It's one of those matchups where if you could only play as Charizard, I feel like Sheik would really like body him. But the fact that you get to pick and choose when you want to be Charizard and play him only in situations where he's good, it makes it very, very hard for Sheik. And he has great tools to deal with her as well. Shulk and Diddy I agree with, though I've been seeing a lot of Diddy players starting to think that Diddy wins the matchup, which makes sense. He can do similar things that like a Pac-Man or a Almar could do, where they could just abuse the fact that they're short, kind of sit back and throw their projectile. Makes it hard for Sheik if they can get the lead. She kind of classed with him equally in neutral. She could deal with Banana really good, and then off stage he's like a sitting duck. Legit at 0%, if you shoot one needle at him, he dies. Aegis, I agree with being even. Palu, I don't think so. When Ultimate first came out, so I played Palu, and I remember playing against Sheik and being like, yeah, this is like the freest matchup ever. But as Sheik's gotten better, more developed, I feel like she actually does real well against Palu, and Sheik's good against teleport recoveries as well. Maybe not necessarily edge guarding them. It puts them in a weird spot. Most of the teleport characters don't have like the strongest buttons off the ledge or mix-ups. So I think Sheik does a really good job at like ledge trapping them. Finally, these last 3 right here in the even, I could see as losing. More Rosa and Ices than Yoshi. I used to think Yoshi was really bad. The main reason why I feel these 2, along with Zard and Yoshi, are really hard is because they have really good interruptions mid-combo. Zard can switch to Squirtle. He has the up B. Yoshi has double jump. He always has the option for double jump. And Sheik doesn't have really strong aerials to hit him out of it. That makes it really hard. But because of Sheik's speed, she does a really good job at covering where he's gonna go, and you can hit him again before he hits the ground, and then you don't have to deal with the double jump anymore. Rosa, it's really Luma that's hard. Rosa and Ice Climbers both shut down grab option. So with the Ices, you never know which one you're gonna grab. Obviously you do sometimes, but if you're going to go and just raw grab, you don't know which one you're going to get. Same thing, Luma can hit you while you're trying to grab Rosalina. And then both of them mid combo can take the hit for the other one and mess up your strings. They're going to get out of it and get the trade on you. And the damage that they're going to do is so much better than what you can do. Icy's obviously, they have all their grab and handoff combos that they can do, which are very, very strong. That makes it tough for Sheik as well. Just the damage output's just huge. Rosalina, because of Luma, like I said, makes it really hard to kill her and get your hits. Luma likes to sit at the exact range where Needles likes to be, like height-wise, so it makes it hard to shoot Needles and kind of rack up percent on her. I think if anything, Rosa belongs more even, but I think Icy's for sure is a losing matchup. Now for the losing matchups he's got Young Link, Olimar, Pikachu, Pac-Man. It says that Young Link, Ollie, Pika, and even I'd be okay with. Definitely discussion for all of these to be an even. Olimar, very tough matchup. He's so small, hard to combo. I feel like the damage output though is like the biggest thing. He can rack up percentage so much quicker on you. He can kill you so much easier that it makes it just really, really hard for Sheik to be able to win that consistently. And then all of them, I'd say every losing matchup, they have the problem as well of like, they can choose like, okay, I'm not going to let you hit me anymore. Young Link and Fox can do it with their speed by kind of just being evasive, versus these three where they can kind of just sit back and be like, okay, word, like I'm gonna post up, I'm gonna start playing slow, you're gonna have to approach me now. Pac-Man especially, I would kind of move him into this category. I don't know if I think Fox is this bad, but I understand where he's coming from. You and Fox are trying to do the same thing, basically just run in and get hits. Fox is very fragile off stage. Like, you can be killing him off of one hit basically if you get him off the stage without a jump. But like on the stage, like you're getting 0 to 80 every time he hits you. He's gonna kill so much more consistently off of stray hits. The combo game is a lot more consistent against him, whereas in all the other Smash games where Sheik bodied the fast fallers, she doesn't really have any fast faller specific combos in this game that make the matchup really hard on the Fox's end. Steve, I'd say same thing as Pac-Man. Maybe Pac-Man does belong in 45-55, but both of them like sit back behind their wall and charge stuff, and then their normals are just absolutely insane. Like, they could fight you even without sitting back and building their little wall, which makes it very, very scary. Pac-Man, when he throws down Hydrant, he doesn't have to play neutral with Sheik anymore, because I don't have the option to shoot needles anymore, which means I'm forced to approach, and he's charging up the whole time. But Steve just takes what Pac-Man does and just brings it to the next level. Not only can he build the big wall, he has great anti-airs, similar frame data, kills easier, amazing get off me options. His recovery is hard to deal with. He lives forever. Sheik does have the benefit of being so fast that if you get him without resources, it could be really hard for the Steve player to land and start mining up again, but it's very difficult to get him in that situation in the first place. I'm sure we all know how strong Steve is. It's a very difficult matchup for Sheik. But yeah, overall, I really liked VoiD's matchup chart. It was fun getting to talk about it and go over it, give my opinions. But yeah, guys, that was my opinion on the chart. I hope y'all have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day.